Hey everybody, and welcome to Alan's Bonsai. So today I'm going to talk about these two Portulacaria afra, commonly called dwarf jade. The tree on the left I've been growing for quite some time, and the tree on the right I acquired from a friend of mine who was liquidating her collection. And they're both very interesting trees, and I really like both trees. Obviously, as you can see, the one on the right has a lot of excess growth that needs to be cut away. And I got this tree a few months ago and I've really just done nothing with it, so it's now time to just cut all that stuff away. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to focus on each individual tree, do some basic trimming, and then talk about the future styling of the trees. So once again, they're both pretty nice trees. They have some similarities, and yet they're both unique in their own way. So I'm going to stop the camera and then start back up and focus on each individual tree and talk about their future training, as I also do some basic cutting back, especially of the one on the right. Get rid of all that excess new growth.
So here's the first tree, and just cutting off the excess growth has cleaned it up so much. And so the future of this tree, I want to bring down the branches more horizontal. So bring this branch down here, bring these guys down here, bring these guys down in here. And then the apex needs some decision making. But if I do bring this branch down, you notice there's a huge gap then right in here. However, there's three very small branches. There's one right here, and there's another one right here, and another one in the back. You notice how in here there's nothing either. It's just kind of empty space. So I'm going to promote those branches, especially this little guy right here, to fill in this area in here. When I bring this branch down and I've got all that empty space, I'm going to promote this guy here to come in and fill that space. The back branch also needs to come down. So wiring this tree would probably take a couple of hours. So at this point I'm really not ready to do that. But I think the future of this tree will make it even nicer, obviously. You know, this is what you would call a finished tree. So it's got the height and the spread and the branching that you're not going to modify all that much more, but it does need more refinement. Even a finished tree requires a greater and greater level of refinement. But once again, just chopping the excess growth from this tree has really cleaned it up and given it a much, much nicer look. So now we're going to go on to tree number 2. So tree number 2 is a little bit more developed than the first one. It's a little bit older, has a thicker trunk, and and once again, this is what you would call a finished tree. Just needs more and more refinement now. If we look a little lower, you'll see that this branch here, when I cut this stuff off here, this branch here, you can kind of see it just kind of sticks up, so it needs to be wired down so that it's less noticeable. And I like the swoop of this branch, but it's actually swooping a little bit too much, so I'm going to bring it up into something like that. And then, you know, this branch here, wire down. One thing about finished bonsai is you want to have space in between the branches. That's what really creates the image of age, is to have space in between the branches. And you do that by cutting off excess growth that's growing up. Keep your pads nice and dense, but separate from each other. So there's a couple more things, like in the back here, there's this branch right here, which you can see it's very new because the bark is brown versus the whiter bark of the older growth. So you know that's not doing anything for the design. So a lot of refinement is just removing the things that you really don't need to create the form that you want. And as in the first tree, wiring this tree entirely would take at least a couple of hours. So that's for a future date. But it's really coming along nicely. I've had this tree for probably 10 years. I don't know because I haven't kept records. But now I'm keeping a record right now. And you're going to help me by subscribing. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And put a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Good, bad, indifferent. If you like what I'm doing with these trees, or if you have suggestions on how to make them even better, I'd love to hear it. So, Portulacaria is a tropical tree. So once again, I'm right on the border of zones 9 and 10. So if you live in more northern climates, you can grow these trees, but they'll need supplemental winter heat. So that's about it for this video. So it shows you, first of all, don't let your trees overgrow like the first one that I let overgrow. Keep them in line, and once you've got a finished tree, then the refinement process will just make them better and better and better and better, because there really is no such thing as a finished tree. Actually, the joke in bonsai is a tree is finished when it dies. So, once again, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video.